It's a carrot chai waffle today with some banana and some kind of melon that I don't know what it is. It looks like a cantaloupe on the outside, but on the inside it looks like a honeydew melon. We're going to be talking, or I'm going to be reviewing this book.
Maybe they came up with a hybrid.
Yeah, I don't know. My guess is it's a genetic mutant. But
yeah, exactly.
I mean, I wouldn't.
We wouldn't know.
Anyway, so before I do that, I'm going to ask my angels what my message is for today, because I haven't yet today. So, angels, what is my message for today? Do something out of the ordinary. This is the first time I've gotten this one.
We're going to do something out of the ordinary.
Will we?
It's out of the ordinary for us to go hiking
in the middle of February. Yeah, it is.
Well, I was thinking January, but yeah, it's February. So it's highly unusual. So it might be even more unusual. Tomorrow we're thinking of heading to a national park in our vicinity. But we'll have to hope for the weather to hold. Or we could go to a provincial park. Actually, we could go to that provincial park today. Now that I think, that would be unusual.
Would it?
Yeah. I think it would be relatively dry there.
All right. Well, we can do that if you like.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to make this today extraordinary.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Well,
never gotten that message before for today. We'll see what happens. Exciting new day.
Well, we do things unusual most days. I think the average Canadian would read something like 2 books a year.
Oh.
I stash away 2 books a day.
Yeah, I get into routines though where I'm reading and reading and reading. Or I'm studying.
Unusual doesn't necessarily mean what's unusual for you.
Okay. Anyway, I'm going to review this book. First thing I'll say is the cover is bad. I know that they like to make the authors' names really huge and stuff, but this title, True, is... Okay, what do you think it's about? What do you think this book is about, looking at this cover?
Well... It
what
looks
would
as
the
though
title
it's
True
about
have anything to do?
Nothing, but it looks as though it has something to do with a pandemic catastrophe. Is that it?
Oh, well, it sort of is.
Oh, okay.
But not... Anyway, it's true. It refers to true love. This book is a... I'll give you my little review then. First I have read page 55, the 3 phases of love. So. Phase 1, attraction. 2, infatuation. 3, true love. Baxi. I don't know. How do you say that? Is that Baxi? Would you think?
It looks very Italian. In which case you say baci.
Baci. Extended a finger. In the first flush of love, our sex hormones and pheromones take center stage. Levels of dopamine in our bodies shoot up, stirring urgent sensations of anticipation and reward. This is of vital importance in securing the interest of and attracting a mate. He extended 2 fingers. In the second phase, the serotonin level drops and is overtaken by adrenaline and noradrenaline. Experienced as the excitement and anxiety of infatuation, nature's way of ensuring we focus our mating energy on one person, it's when the obsessive-compulsive effect is most pronounced. He extended a 3rd finger. But if infatuation is to evolve and develop into enduring, stable, true love, another group of hormones must predominate. Endorphins and bonding chemicals like vasopressin and oxytocin. Oxytocin is the chemical produced after orgasm and when a mother gives birth. The feeling of stabilizing calm and well-being it promotes is nature's reward for staying with our partner or our offspring. This 3rd stage is nature's way of ensuring that any child produced by the match has 2 parents, at least through its early years. Okay, and
Now, there's some cultures where that's not
What?
seen as being very necessary to have two parents.
Well, I don't know if it's even necessary in this little description of it. I mean, the oxytocin produced after orgasm, so then they might want to stay together. And then after giving birth, though, the mother has the feeling, I mean, James and I have talked about this before. You might, if you're under 18, you shouldn't be listening to this. This is not, you ask your parents or something. I'm not going to be responsible for educating you on this. But James and I have talked about this in the past, how, I mean, it was believed that women had two different kinds of orgasms, clitoral and vaginal. And then a bunch of feminists said, oh, no, the vaginal orgasm doesn't exist. And that's a lie. And but the fact of the matter is that a woman really only has one orgasm in two places. And it's a little bit complicated. You got to sync it up in order to get the full response. But really, like at one point when you're a little embryo and then you're developing in the womb, at one point you wouldn't know whether that's a male or a female. Eventually, things split off, and like you can actually look at maybe look at a textbook of, you know, because I'm not going to sit here and show you mine or anything, but look at a diagram or something like that. Or, you know, there's a lot of artists that have been really graphic. You could go look at some art. And anyway, I mean, you can see it when you look at a penis. There's a line in the penis, and that's the frenulum, right?
Oh, something like that.
Okay.
It means break, a little break. Or something.
Well, there you go. And so I've thought about it, and I've been like, well, I wonder if everyone's a male at first, and then that little line decides to split, and then a female may result. Or is it that everyone's a female, and then that fuses together if you're going to be a man, when you're developing in the womb? I don't know. But it's obvious to me that the clitoris is like a little penis head, and the labia majora are like the testicle bags or whatever, the things that hold the testicles. But
scrotum is the term.
There you go. Thank you. I couldn't think of it.
I think scrot might actually mean something like bag.
Okay, there you go.
Scrot in police terminology refers to scummy little kids that cause them problems, vandalism, and so on and so forth. But that's just by the wayside.
Yeah. And
yeah, the scummy cops use that term.
Mm-hmm. And the labia minora is really the penis shaft, and then going into vagina. And so that you can see where it would split, right? The penis. Anyway, it looks pretty obvious to me. So, but there, I mean, whereas the man, when he ejaculates, there's one, it's both things are going to happen. He's going to have the orgasm, and it's going to like shoot some stuff out, right? So there's the pleasure and the force of ejaculation then leads to release, right? And then a man afterwards, he's feeling really relaxed, and he wants to have a sleep or whatever because he's had the ejaculation. Mm-hmm. And actually, and he doesn't want to have more sex. Like my ex, we used to experiment a lot when we were teenagers, and a few times we did this, where he would ejaculate and I would keep going to try to make him ejaculate again. And he could do it a couple times, but he did not enjoy it. He said it was incredibly painful. It was not good anymore. Continuing on that way. So that was not something we pursued regularly because it didn't work out. But we were very imaginative teenagers and young adults. We did a lot of things. Anyway, that was one of them. But the thing is when we finally realized, oh wait, women can ejaculate too. That was quite thrilling, and it requires some pain, right at the right moment. And so when I found that out, well, there's so that's the vaginal orgasm, and when I found that out, well, I realized I did not want any kind of sex afterwards, and I was very relaxed. So I wanted to just sleep afterwards, after ejaculation. So,
Some
anyway.
similarities between men and women.
Exactly. And James and
More
I
than
have
some
talked about
feminists,
it,
I
and we're
think,
like,
would want to
well,
admit.
why in the world would, like, what is the purpose of a female ejaculation? And we figure, well, it's to aid in childbirth. You have this big flush of fluid, and the muscles just go, and then they shoot out the baby, right? So that's really the purpose of the female ejaculation. And
it's way more copious than a guy's.
Yeah. So, anyway, but if you time it right, you get, really there's only one orgasm for a female, but it's in two different, you have to figure out how to get it to work.
It's triggered by two different places.
Yeah. So, and I'm not going to get into that further, just in case there are some people, even though I gave the warning, not below 18. Anyway, back to reviewing this book. Nil number 69 is True Love. So that's the name of this is about, there's a lot of different talk of, like, it seems pretty scientific or whatever at the beginning, but they were talking about different pharmaceuticals, stuff like that, right? So NIL number 69 is the love drug, and it's not ecstasy. They do talk about ecstasy here, and anyway, but it's this new drug that they came up with.
Actually, it's kind of like a lust drug, isn't it?
Well, I suppose it would be. I haven't tried it. Anyway, Max's brother, so Max is the main character, the main hero, love interest in this, created a tag vector based on a virulent influenza retrovirus. And page 65, they'll give Isabella the love drug without her consent? That's not okay. No father would agree to that. Well, perhaps a father in countries where they would abort daughters since they only want sons. So I wasn't thinking that was believable at first, and then I thought, maybe some places. So that's terrible. Anyway, so I'm reading this, and page 65, I'm like, this is not a love story, like, anyway. All of the various drugs mentioned, Amigo, the one that causes the temporary prosopagnosis, and the NIL in its number, there's lots of, not just the 69, there's lots of them. And tag vector all come to be important in the story in the end. So at first you're reading about all of these different drug things, and you're like, okay, well, so the guy did some research and some street drugs and pharmaceuticals or whatever, and he's like,
I hope he didn't do too much personally, but
I don't know.
Never can tell.
So the Amigo, anyway, I don't know if it's real. It's in the book. It's made so that you, it's, I guess, a derivative maybe from ecstasy or something like that. And so rather than getting all lusty and stuff, you get, everybody's your friend. You think everyone's your friend. Which James and I were talking about it, and that doesn't sound like a good drug that anyone would want to take anyway. I mean, it'd be better if when you took the drug, you sent off a pheromone and everyone was your friend or something. That would be a good drug. Everybody'd want that one. Mm-hmm. But thinking that everyone's your friend when they're not is maybe not such a good thing. But anyway, How does Phoebe recognize
And notice how
Isabella?
you're thinking like a
Huh?
good person, because it wouldn't be good to have let off a pheromone if everyone were your friend, because rapists would use it, right? But you weren't even thinking about that sort
No.
of stuff.
That's terrible.
So,
But then if it was just a friend, they wouldn't do that.
no.
They wouldn't want to do that.
So a drug like that would have to be used in controlled situations where you weren't out mixing and
Well,
matching.
yeah, this book is basically, that's what they're saying is, could love be a bad thing, a love drug? And it's like, yeah, it could be very bad. And anyway, the amigo is supposed to cause temporary prosopagnosis. I think I said that right. And so, in the end, that's why I'm like, well, why does Phoebe even know it's Isabella?
Did you explain what that was?
What? Oh no, I did not. Okay, that's good. It's when people don't recognize faces, so they don't. And in the book, actually, they say that a lot of people have a certain degree of prosopagnosis, but they don't realize that they do. They just think they're not good at remembering faces. But yeah, I guess there's people that don't know faces at all. They can't tell who's who. And
so you could be a beauty contestant and not recognize Donald Trump and end up in a bad way.
this was such a soap opera. It was not the love story that it was intended to be, as far as I'm concerned. Yuck. Anyway, it was an easy read, I suppose. I wouldn't suggest anyone read it, however. Yeah.
I guess that applies to me. Yeah,
What?
I would.
You wanted to read this?
No. Nope. I'm taking it as a recommend to avoid it. Like the plague.
Yeah. Anyway. So I don't have anything to talk about. You?
Well, apparently, as of this morning, they're moving in and shutting down Windsor. Correction. They're shutting down the people who are shutting down Windsor and everything downstream. Toronto, mainly, but other things. Now they're being far too circumspect for my liking. In other words, a lot of the folks are moving to other places. No, they should be moved to. They had plenty of time to clear out. And plenty of notice. It hasn't really been warning. All of it has been way too circumspect. Apparently, many people, and Ottawa, I don't think they're doing much about it. Yeah. It's not as urgent economically, but it is urgent socio-politically. You have to put your foot down on fascists and Nazis. A certain group of people there thought that they were going to go and change the Canadian government. We changed the Canadian government by forming a political party and not intimidating people that you don't like. You run for election. Yeah, free election. You're going around intimidating people. Some trucks were being moved by a moving company. I think only one moving company wanted to do it. And why? Because they were receiving death threats. Death threats. Yeah, fun times, you guys. You're receiving money from outside of Canada, United States. I suspect other places. If they really check, they'd probably find stuff coming from Russia and China, People's Republic of China. And they really shouldn't let it be called China. They should go back to Taiwan, be called China. They should kick People's Republic of China out of the United Nations. They should be allowed to keep That's the way it was, roughly before 1974 or stuff like that. But when you're receiving money to overthrow the government, to disobey the laws, to commit hate crimes, you're committing not just a hate crime, you're committing treason. And they should have been using the TR word. As soon as they started doing the hate crimes and flipping and flopping and flapping the Nazi flags.
Because, I mean, when you're wanting to take over the world and cause a pandemic, a global pandemic, and then you don't want any trouble from powerful countries so that you can to curb your plans to take over the world.
Your enthusiasm, should we say.
Yeah. Then it works out really well if you cause civil wars in those powerful countries.
Now, a lot of the funding coming from the United States would be just from militias and neo-Nazis and junk like that. There might be some people who are.
I don't know about that. I think there's a lot of funding coming from
not from
China and Russia.
There isn't, but some of that would actually
That's my guess.
Getting moved into militia slush funds and stuff like that.
Yeah, it could be. Not directly.
But there are some very nasty people that are very rich. The Koch brothers who were funding Donald Trump, probably still are some of the very richest people in the world. They are.
This isn't a good kind of melon.
It's awful, man.
It's awful, really. It's like the worst of both cantaloupe and honeydew.
No, I'm eating it. It's awful because I expected better. It's still kind of sweet. It might have been a little.
Yeah, maybe I didn't
Unripe.
get a good one. So maybe we'll try it a second time and see. Like if you see it a second time.
The other thing is it might be a little unripe. It might have been a green one. You eat an unripe mango and it's not a pleasant experience.
You're right.
When you don't know a melon, don't know what it's supposed to be like, it's hard to judge it. I don't want to misjudge it, judge it too harshly.
Yeah.
But it's not off-putting, but it's not that pleasant. If it were good, I'd be hammering away at that last little bit, but I'm going to save that for a while. Maybe a little bit later.
It's not even very soft. It's just kind of too hard.
Well, that suggests to me that maybe it's a little unripe. Anyway, I enjoyed one of the two waffles you gave me, and I'm enjoying thinking about enjoying the second one.
I know, that one fell apart well.
Well, actually, it didn't. Is that the bottom one that fell apart? Yeah, exactly right. The top one held together very well. I struggled a little bit. I
didn't have any eggs to put in your waffles or anything to really hold it together.
The top one held together. I was having trouble getting a quarter of it removed.
I'm just going to give this to the dogs. I don't even want it.